Hello. Hello there. All right, let's see if everything's working properly. Yes. The Mastery of Love by Don Miguel Ruiz. The Mastery of Love by Don Miguel Ruiz. Chapter 5, The Perfect Relationship. Imagine a perfect relationship. You're always intensely happy with your partner because you live with a perfect woman or man for you. How would you describe your life with this person? Well, the way you relate with this person will be exactly the way you relate with a dog. A dog is a dog. It doesn't matter what you do. It's going to be a dog. You're not going to change a dog for a cat or a dog for a horse. It is what it is. Just accepting this fact in your relations with other humans is very important. You cannot change other people. You love them the way they are, or you don't. You accept them the way they are, or you don't. You try to change them to fit what you want them to be. Is like trying to change a dog for a cat or a cat for a horse. That is a fact. They are what they are. You are what you are. You dance or you don't dance. You need to be completely honest with yourself to say what you want and see if you are willing to dance or not. You must understand this point because it is very important. When you truly understand, you're likely to see what it is true about others and not just what you want to see. If you own a dog or a cat, think about how you relate to your pet. Let's consider your relationship with a dog. For example, the animal knows how to have a perfect relationship with you. When your dog does something wrong, what do you do with your dog? A dog doesn't care what you do. It just loves you. It doesn't have any expectations. Isn't that wonderful? But what about your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, or your wife? They have so many expectations and they are changing all the time. The dog is responsible for its half of the relationship with you. One half of the relationship is completely normal. The dog's half, when you come home, it barks at you. Oh, let me read that again. The dog is responsible for its half of the relationship with you. One half of the relationship is completely normal. The dog's half. When you come home, it barks at you. It wags its tail. It pants because it's so happy to see you. It does its part very well. And you know it is the perfect dog. Your part is almost perfect also. You handle your responsibility. You feed your dog. You take care of your dog. You play with your dog. You love your dog unconditionally. You will do almost anything for your dog. You do your part perfectly, and your dog does its part perfectly. Most people can easily imagine this kind of relationship with their dog. But why not with a woman or a man? Do you know any woman or a man who is not perfect? The dog is a dog. And that is okay with you. You don't need to be responsible for your dog to make it be a dog. The dog doesn't try to make you be a good human, a good master. Then why can't we allow a woman to be a woman or a man to be a man and love that human just the way he is or she is without trying to change that person? Perhaps you are thinking, but what if I'm not with the right woman or the right man? That is a very important question. Of course, you have to choose the right woman or the right man. And what is the right woman, the right man? Someone who wants to go in the same direction as you do? Someone who is compatible with your views and your values emotionally, physically, economically, spiritually? How do you know if your partner is right for you? Let's imagine that you are a man and a woman is going to choose you. If there are 100 women looking for a man, and each will look at you as a possibility, for how many of those women will you be the right man? The answer is, you don't know. That is why you need to explore and take the risk. But I can tell you That the right woman for you is the woman you love, just the way she is. The woman you don't have the need to change at all. That's the right woman for you. You're lucky if you find the right woman for you. And at the same time, you're the right man for her. You're going to be the right man for her if she loves you just the way you are. And she doesn't want to change you. She doesn't have to be responsible for you. She can trust that you're going to be what you claim you are, what you project you are. She can be as honest as possible and project to you what she is. She will not come to you pretending to be something that you later discover she is not. The one who loves you just the way you are. Because if someone wants to change you, it means you're not what that person wants. Then why is she with you? You know, it's easy to love your dog because your dog doesn't have opinions about you. The dog loves you unconditionally. This is important. Then if your partner loves you just the way you are, it is just like that dog loves you. You can be yourself with your partner. You can be a man or you can be a woman. Just the way the dog can be a dog with you. When you meet a person just after the hello, she starts sending you information right away. She can hardly wait to share her dreams with you. She opens herself, even if she doesn't know she is doing it. It is so easy for you to see every person just the way she is. You don't need to lie to yourself. You can see what it is you are buying, and you either want it or you don't. But you cannot blame the other person for being a dog or a cat or a horse. If you want a dog, then why are you getting a cat? If you want a cat, why are you getting a horse or a chicken? You know the kind of man or woman that you want. You know. The one who makes your heart sing. The one who is aligned with the way you are. The one who loves you just as you are. Why set yourself up for something else? Why not get what you want? Why pretend to make someone fit what she is not? It doesn't mean you don't love her. It means you make a choice and say yes or no because you love yourself also. You make a choice and you are responsible for your choices. Then if the choices are not working well, you do not blame yourself. You simply make another choice. But let's imagine that you get a dog and you love cats. You want your dog to behave like a cat. And you try to change the dog because it never says meow. What are you doing with a dog? Get a cat. This is the only way to begin a great relationship. First, you have to know what you want, how you want it, when you want it. You have to know exactly what the needs of your body are, and what the needs of your mind are, and what fits well with you. There are millions of men and women, and each one is unique. Some will make a good match for you, and some won't make a good match at all. You can love everyone, but to deal with a person on an everyday basis, you will need someone more closely aligned to you. That person doesn't need to be exactly like you. The two of you only need to be like a key in the lock, a match that works. You need to be honest with yourself and honest with everyone else. Project what you feel you really are, and don't pretend to be what you are not. It's as if you are in a market. You're going to sell yourself. I'm going to sell myself. Let's go to the market. Can you see the possibilities a relationship offers? Explore the possibilities. Be yourself. Find a person who matches with you. Take the risk, but be honest. If it works, keep going. If it doesn't work, then do yourself and your partner a favor. Walk away. Let her go. Don't be selfish. Give your partner the opportunity to find what she really wants. And at the same time, give yourself the opportunity. If it's not going to work, it is better to look in a different direction. If you cannot love your partner the way she is, someone else can love her just as she is. Don't waste your time. And don't waste your partner's time. This is respect. If you are the provider and your partner is an addict, and this is not what you want, perhaps you would be happier with someone else. But if you decide to be in that relationship, do your best. Do your best because you are the one who is going to reap the reward. If you cannot love your partner in the way she is, if you can open your heart completely to your partner, you can reach heaven through your love. If you can love your partner the way she is, did I say can't? Let's do this again. If you are the provider and your partner is the addict, and this is not what you want, perhaps you would be happier with someone else. But if you decide to be in that relationship, do your best. Do your best because you are the one who is going to reap the reward. If you can love your partner the way she is, if you can open your heart completely to your partner, you can reach heaven through your love. If you already have a cat and you want a dog, what can you do? You can start practicing from this point forward. You have to aim for a new beginning by cutting your ties with the past and starting all over again. You don't have to have attachments to the past. All of us can change, and it can be for the better. This is a new beginning for you, to forgive whatever happened between you and your partner. Let it go because it was nothing but personal importance. It was nothing but misunderstanding. It was nothing but someone being hurt and trying to get even. It's not worth whatever happened in the past to spoil the possibility that you can reach heaven in a relationship. Have the courage to go for it 100% or let it go. Let go of the past and begin every day at a higher level of love. This will keep the fire alive and make your love grow even more. Of course, you need to look at what it means to have the good moments and the bad moments. If being emotionally or physically abused is a bad moment, I don't know if a couple should keep going. If a bad moment is that someone loses her job, something is wrong at work, or someone has an accident, that is another kind of bad moment. If the bad moments come from fear, if they come from a lack of respect, humiliation, or hatred, I don't know how many bad moments a couple can survive. In the relationship with your dog, you can have a bad moment. For whatever reason. It happens. An accident. A bad day at work or whatever. You come home, the dog is there barking at you, tail wagging, looking for your attention. You don't feel like playing with the dog, but the dog is there. The dog will not feel hurt that you don't want to play because it doesn't take it personally. Once the dog celebrates your arrival and finds out you don't want to play, the dog goes and plays by himself. The dog doesn't stay there and insist that you be happy. Sometimes you can feel more support from your dog than from a partner who wants to make you happy. If you don't feel like being happy and you only want to be quiet, it's nothing personal. It has nothing to do with your partner. Perhaps you have a problem and you need to be quiet. But that silence can cause your partner to make a lot of assumptions. Oh man. What did I do now? It's because of me. It has nothing to do with your partner. It's nothing personal. Left alone, the tension will go away and you will return to happiness. That is why the key in the lock has to be a match. Because if one of you has a bad moment or an emotional crisis, your agreement to allow each other to be what you are, then the relationship is another story. It's another way of being. And the whole thing can be very beautiful. Look at that little guy. Relationship is an art. The dream that two create is more difficult to master than one. To keep the two of you happy, you have to keep your half perfect. You are responsible for your half. And your half is a certain amount of garbage. Your garbage is your garbage. The one who has to deal with that garbage is you, not your partner. If your partner tries to clean your garbage, she's going to end up with a broken nose. We have to learn not to put our nose where no one wants it. That's so good, that line. Relationship is an art. The dream that two create is more difficult to master than one. To keep the two of you happy, you have to keep your half perfect. You are responsible for your half, and your half is a certain amount of garbage. Your garbage is your garbage. The one who has to deal with that garbage is you, not your partner. If your partner tries to clean your garbage, she's going to end up with you with a broken nose. We have to learn not to put our nose where no one wants it. He's staring at me. He's staring at me. He's just staring at me. And it's the same with your partner's half. Your partner has a certain amount of garbage. Knowing, because you know this chapter is about cats and dogs, that's why you're over here. Knowing your partner has garbage, you allow her to deal with her own garbage. You're going to love her and accept her with all of her garbage. You are going to respect her garbage. You're not in the relationship to clean your partner's garbage. She's going to clean her own. Even if your partner asks for your help, you have the choice to say no. Saying no doesn't mean you don't love or accept your partner. It means you are not able or you don't want to play that game. For example, if your partner gets angry, you can say, "You have the right to be mad, but I don't have to be mad because you're mad. I didn't do anything to cause your anger." Oh my gosh. You don't have to accept your partner's anger at all, but you can allow her to be angry. There's no need to be argued, just allow her to be what she is. Allow her to heal without intervening. That is like the hardest thing. This is like easier said than done right here, bro. And you can also agree not to interfere with your own healing process. I'm just going to reread this because I feel like I'm missing something. Even if your partner asks for your help, you have the choice to say no. Saying no doesn't mean you don't love or accept your partner. It means you are not able or you don't want to play that game. For example, if your partner gets angry, you can say, "You have the right to be mad, but I don't have to be mad because you're mad." That would just piss him off more. Jeez. Say that to somebody who's mad. Sheesh, I'd like to see you say that. Oh. I didn't do anything to cause your anger. Yeah, you don't want to say that to somebody out loud when they're in the middle of anger. That's not going to turn out well. You don't have to accept your partner's anger at all. This is probably the only part of the book I'm not agreeing with. But you can allow her to be angry. See, I agree with that. Just you should allow them to be angry, but you shouldn't say anything probably. But sometimes, like he was saying earlier, if you're silent, then it's like saying something. So I guess saying something's better than not. You don't have to accept your partner's anger at all, but you allow her to be angry. There's no need to argue. Just allow her to be what she is. Allow her to heal without intervening. And you can also agree not to interfere with your own healing process. Let's say that you are a man and you are happy. And for whatever reason, your partner cannot be happy. She has personal problems. She's dealing with her garbage and she is unhappy. Because you love her, you will support her. But supporting her doesn't mean you're going to be unhappy because she's unhappy. This is not support at all. No, I get that. If she's unhappy and you get unhappy, both of you will sink. Ah, yes. If you are happy and your happiness can bring her happiness back. Oh, if you're happy, then your happiness can bring her back. Maybe. In the same way, if you are down and she is happy, her happiness is in your support. Well, when that doesn't work anymore, then what happens, let's see, for your own sake, let her be happy. Don't even try to take her happiness away. Whatever happens in your work, don't come home and throw your poison at her. Be silent and let her know it's nothing personal. You're just dealing with yourself. You can say, "Keep being happy, keep playing, and I will join you when I can enjoy your happiness. Right now, I need to be alone." I feel like it's better from that side. Like if it's you having a bad day, then you should vocalize that. Like it's not you, it's just me having a bad day. I need to be alone. I don't think enough people do that, maybe. But like to be the other side of it and like it's such a manipulation thing when people throw anger at you and they're like, "No, you get angry." Like it's man, it's too easy. If you understand the concept of the wounded mind, you will understand the reason why romantic relationships are so difficult. The emotional body is sick. It has wounds, it has poisons. If we are not aware that we are sick or that our partner is sick, we become selfish. The wounds hurt and we have to protect our wounds, even from the one we love. But if we have the awareness, we can have different agreements. When we are aware that our partner has emotional wounds and we love our partner, we certainly don't want to touch her wounds. We don't want to push her to heal her wounds, and we don't want her to push us to heal our wounds. Take the risk and take the responsibility to make a new agreement with your partner. Not an agreement that you read in a book, but an agreement that works for you. If it doesn't work, change the agreement and create a new one. Use your imagination to explore new possibilities, to create new agreements based on respect and love. Communication through respect and love is the whole key to keeping the love alive and never getting bored in your relationship. It's about finding your voice and stating your needs. It's about trusting yourself and trusting your partner. What you're going to share with your partner is not the garbage, but your love, your romance, your understanding. The goal is for the two of you to be happier and happier, and that calls for more and more love. You are the perfect man or woman, and your partner is the perfect human. Just as the dog is the perfect dog, if you treat your partner with love and respect, who is going to get the benefit? No one else but you. Heal your half, and you're going to be happy. If you can heal that part of you, then you're going to be ready for a relationship without fear, without need. But remember, you can only heal your half. If you are in a relationship and you work with your half, and your partner works with the other half, you will see how quickly progress is made. Right? Love is what makes you happy. And if you become the servant of love, and your partner becomes the servant of love, you can just imagine all the possibilities. The day will come when you can be with your partner with no guilt and no blame, no anger and no sadness. That day will be wonderful when you can be completely open, only to share, only to serve, only to give your love. Once you decide to be a couple, you are there to serve the one you love, the one you choose. You are there to serve your love to your lover, to be each other's servant. In every kiss and every touch you feel you are each there to please the one you love. Without expecting anything back, more than sex, it's about being together. The sex becomes wonderful also, but it's completely different. Sex becomes a communion. Sex becomes a complete surrendering, a dance, an art, a supreme expression of beauty. You can make an agreement that says, I like you, you are wonderful, and you make me feel so good. I'll bring you the flowers, I'll bring you the soft music, we'll dance, we'll both go to the clouds. It's beautiful, it's wonderful, it's romantic. It's no longer a war of control, it's about service. But you can only do that when the love you have for yourself is very strong. I like that. Let's read that again. It's a good one. You can make an agreement that says, I like you. You're wonderful and you make me feel so good. I'll bring the flowers, you bring the soft music. We'll dance and we'll both go to the clouds. It's beautiful, it's wonderful, it's romantic. It's no longer a war of control. It's about service. But you can only do that when the love you have for yourself is very strong. That's a good chapter. This next chapter is called The Magical Kitchen. Imagine that you have a magical kitchen in your home, right there. In that magical kitchen, you have any food you want from any place in the world, in any quantity. Hold on, I'm just imagining for a second. You never worry about what to eat. Whatever you wish for, you can have at your table. You are very generous with your food. You give your food unconditionally to others, not because you want something in return. Whoever comes to your home, you feed just for the pleasure of sharing your food. And your house is always full of people who come to eat the food from your magical kitchen. Then one day, someone knocks at your door, and it's a person with a pizza. You open the door, and the person looks at you and says, "Hey, do you see this pizza? I'll give you this pizza if you let me control your life. If you just do whatever I want you to do. You're never going to starve because I can bring you pizza every day. You just have to be good to me." Can you imagine your reaction? In your kitchen, you can have the same pizza, even better. Yet this person comes to you and offers you food. If you do whatever he wants you to do, you're going to laugh and say, "No, thank you. I don't need your food. I have plenty of food. You can come to my house and eat whenever you want. And you don't have to do anything. Don't believe me? I'm going to do whatever you want me to do. No one will manipulate me with food." Now imagine exactly the opposite. Several weeks have gone by, and you haven't eaten. You're starving, and you have no money. No money in your pocket to buy food. The person comes with the pizza and says, "Hey, there's food here. You can have this food if you just do what I want you to do." You can smell the food and you're starving. You decide to accept the food and do whatever that person asks of you. You eat some food and he says, "If you want more, you can have more, but you have to keep doing what I want you to do." You have food today, but tomorrow you may not have food. So you agree to do whatever you can for food. You can become a slave because of food, because you need food, because you don't have it. Then after a certain time, you have doubts. You say, "What am I going to do without my pizza? I cannot live without my pizza. What if my partner decides to give the pizza to someone else? My pizza." Now imagine that instead of food, we're talking about love. You have an abundance of love in your heart. You have love not just for yourself, but for the whole world. You love so much that you don't need anyone's love. You share your love without condition. You don't love if. You're a millionaire in love, and someone knocks on your door and says, "Hey, I have love for you here. You can have my love if you just do whatever I want you to do." When you're full of love, what is going to be your reaction? You will laugh and say, "Thank you, but I don't need your love. I have the same love here in my heart, even bigger and better, and I share my love without condition." But what is going to happen if you're starving for love, if you don't have that love in your heart, and someone comes and says, "You want a little love? You can have my love if you just do what I want." If you are starving for love and you taste that love, you're going to do whatever you can for that love. You can even be so needy that you give your whole soul just for a little attention. Your heart is like that magical kitchen. If you open your heart, you already have all the love you need. There's no need to go around the world begging for love. "Please, someone love me. I'm so lonely. I'm not good enough for love. I need someone to love me to prove that I'm worthy of love." We have love right here inside of us, but we don't see this love. Can you see the drama humans create when they believe they don't have love? They're starving for love. And when they taste a little love from someone else, that creates a big need. They become needy and obsessed about love. Then comes the big drama. What am I going to do if he leaves me? How can I live without her? They cannot live without the provider, the one who provides them with the everyday doses. And for that little piece of love, because they are starving, they allow other people to control their lives. They let others tell them what to do, what not to do, how to dress, how not to dress, how to behave, how not to behave, what to believe, what not to believe. I love you if you behave in this way. I love you if you let me control your life. I love you only if you are good to me. If not, then forget it. The problem with humans is that they don't know they have a magical kitchen in their heart. All this suffering begins because long ago we closed our hearts. We no longer feel the love that is there. At some point in our life, we became afraid to love because we believed love isn't fair. Love hurts. We tried to be good enough for someone else. We tried to be accepted by someone else, and we failed. We've already had 2 or 3 lovers and a few broken hearts. To love again is to risk too much. Of course, we have so many self-judgments that we cannot possibly have any self-love. And if there's no love for ourselves, how can we even pretend that we share love with someone else? When we go into a relationship, we become selfish because we are needy. It's all about me. We're so selfish that we want the person with whom we are sharing our life to be as needy as we are. We want someone who needs me in order to be justified our existence, in order to feel that we have a reason to be alive. We think we are searching for love, but we are searching for someone who needs love, someone we can control and manipulate. There is a war of control in human relationships because we were domesticated to compete for the control of the attention. What we call love, someone who needs me, someone who cares about me, isn't love, it's selfishness. How can that work? Selfishness doesn't work because there is no love there. Both people are starving for love. In the sex they have, they taste a little love, and it becomes addictive because they are starving for love. But then all the judgments are there, all the fear, all the blame, all the drama. Then we search for advice on love and sex. So many books are written about it. And just about all these books could be called How to Be Sexually Selfish. The intent is good, but where is the love? They're not about learning to love. There is nothing to learn about love. Everything is already there in our genes, in our nature. We don't have to learn anything, except what we invent in this world of illusion. We search for love outside of ourselves when love is all around us. Love is everywhere, but we don't have the eyes to see. Our emotional body is no longer tuned to love. We are so afraid to love because it isn't safe to love. The fear of rejection frightens us. We have to pretend to be what we are not. We try to be accepted by our partner when we don't accept ourselves. But the problem is not that our partner rejects us. The problem is that we reject ourselves because we are not good enough, because that is what we believe. Self-rejection is the main problem. You're never going to be good enough for yourself when the idea of perfection is completely wrong. It's a false concept. It's not even real, but you believe it. Not being perfect, you reject yourself, and the level of self-rejection depends upon how strong the adults were in breaking your integrity. Let me just read this last part again. Self-rejection is the main problem. You're never going to be good enough for yourself when the idea of perfection is completely wrong. It's a false concept. It's not even real, but you believe it. Not being perfect, you reject yourself. And the level of self-rejection depends upon how strong the adults were in breaking your integrity. After domestication, it is no longer about being good enough for anyone else. You are no longer good enough for yourself because the big judge is always there, reminding you that you are not perfect. As I said before, you can never forgive yourself for not being what you wish to be. And that's the real problem. If you can change that, you can take care of your half of the relationship. The other half is not your problem. If you tell someone you love him, and the person says, well, I don't love you, is that a reason for you to suffer? Just because someone rejects you doesn't mean you have to reject yourself. If one person doesn't love you, someone else will love you. There is always someone else. And it's better to be with someone who wants to be with you than to be with someone who has to be with you. You have to focus on the most wonderful relationship you can. The relationship with yourself. It's not about being selfish. It is about self-love. These are not the same. You are selfish with yourself because there is no love there. You need to love yourself, and the love will grow more and more. Then when you enter a relationship, you don't go into it because you need to be loved. It becomes a choice. You can choose someone. You can what? You can choose someone if you humiliate you. Wait, you can choose someone who humiliates you and disrespects you. That person may claim to love you, but is it really love? If we love, we want the best for those we love. Why put our garbage into our own children? Why abuse them because we are full of fear and emotional poison? Why blame our parents for our own garbage? People learn to become selfish and to close their hearts so tightly. They're starving for love, not knowing that the heart is a magical kitchen. Your heart is a magical kitchen. Open your heart. Open your magical kitchen and refuse to walk around the world begging for love. In your heart is all the love you need. Your heart can create any amount of love, not just for yourself, but for the whole world. You can give your love with no conditions. You can be generous with your love because you have a magical kitchen in your heart. Then all those starving people who believe in the heart is closed will also want to be near you for your love. What makes you happy is love coming out of you. And if you're generous with your love, everyone is going to love you. You're never going to be alone if you are generous. If you are selfish, you're always going to be alone. And there is no one to blame but you. Your generosity will open all the doors, not your selfishness. Selfishness comes from poverty in the heart, from the belief that love is not abundant. We become selfish when we believe that maybe tomorrow we won't have any pizza. But when we know that our heart is a magical kitchen, we're always generous, and our love is completely unconditional pizza. Oh, I added that part at the end. I want to reread that right there, that last paragraph of this chapter. Selfishness comes from poverty in the heart, from the belief that love is not abundant. We become selfish when we believe that maybe tomorrow we won't have any pizza. But when we know that our heart is a magical kitchen, we are always generous, and our love is completely unconditional. Here's the chapter I read the other day, chapter 7. That's a good one. It's cool because I opened to this chapter, and it's really good. After reading all these ones, I'm like, this is the one I opened to? The Dream Master. It's probably the best chapter in the book. Every relationship in your life can be healed. Every relationship can be wonderful, but it's always going to begin with you. You need to have the courage to use the truth, to talk to yourself with the truth, to be completely honest with yourself. Perhaps you don't have to be honest with the whole world, but you can be honest with yourself. Perhaps you cannot control what is going to happen around you, but you can control your own reactions. Those reactions are going to guide the dream of your life, your personal dream. It's your reactions that make you so unhappy to make you so happy. Your reactions are the key to having a wonderful life. If you can learn to control your own reactions, then you can change your routines and you can change your life. You are responsible for the consequences of whatever you do, think, say, and feel. Perhaps it's hard for you to see what actions caused the consequence, what emotions, what thoughts, but you can see the consequences because you are suffering the consequences or enjoying the consequences. You control your personal dream by making choices. You have to see if you like the consequences of your choices or not. If it's a consequence you enjoy, then keep doing what you're doing. Perfect. But if you don't like what is happening in your life, if you aren't enjoying the dream, then try to find out what is causing the consequence you don't like. This is the way to transform your dream. Your life is the manifestation of your personal dream. If you can transform the program of your personal dream, you can become a dream master. A dream master creates a masterpiece of life. But to master the dream is a big challenge because humans become slaves of their own dreams. The way we learn to dream is a setup. With all the beliefs we have that nothing is possible, it's hard to escape the dream of fear. In order to awake from the dream, you need to master the dream. That is why the Toltecs created the mastery of transformation, to break free of the old dream and to create a new dream where everything is possible, including escaping from the dream. In the mastery of transformation, the Toltecs divided people into dreamers and stalkers. The dreamers know that the dream is an illusion, and they play in that world of illusion, knowing it's an illusion. The stalkers are like a tiger or a jaguar, stalking every action and reaction. You have to stalk your own reactions. You have to work with yourself every moment. It takes a lot of time and courage, because it's easier to take things personally and react the way you always react. And that leads you to a lot of mistakes, to a lot of suffering and pain, because your reactions only generate more emotional poison and increase the drama. If you can control your reactions, you will find that soon you're going to see, meaning to perceive things as they really are. The mind normally perceives things as they are, but because of all the programming, all the beliefs we have, we make interpretations of what we perceive, of what we hear, and mainly of what we see. There's a big difference between seeing the way people see in the dream and seeing without judgment, as it is. The difference is in the way your emotional body reacts to what you perceive. For example, if you are walking on the street and someone who doesn't know you says, "You're so stupid," and walks away, you can perceive and react to that in many ways. You can accept what that person said and think, "Yes, I must be stupid." You can get mad or feel humiliated or simply ignore it. The truth is that this person is dealing with his own emotional poison. And he said that to you because you were the first person to cross his path. It has nothing to do with you. There is nothing personal there. If you can see that truth the way it is, you don't react. You can say, "Look at that person who is suffering so much," but you don't take it personally. This is just one example, but it applies to almost everything that happens in every moment. We have a little ego that takes everything personally, that makes us overreact. We don't see what is really happening because we react right away and make it part of our dream. Your reaction comes from a belief that is deep inside of you. The way you react has been repeated thousands of times and becomes a routine for you. You are conditioned to be a certain way, and that is the challenge, to change your normal reactions, to change your routine, to take a risk and make different choices. If the consequence is not what you want, change it again and again until you finally get the results you want. I have said that we never choose to have the parasite, which is the judge, the victim, and the belief system. If we know we didn't have a choice, we have the awareness that it's nothing but a dream. We recover something very important that we lost, something that religions call free will. Religions say that when humans were created, God gave us free will. This is true, but the dream took it away from us and kept it because the dream controls the will of most humans. There are people who say, I want to change. I really want to change. There's no reason for me to be so poor. I am intelligent. I deserve to live a good life, to earn much more money than I earn. They know this, but that is what their mind is telling them. What do these people do? They go and turn the television on and spend hours and hours watching it. Then how strong is their will? Once we have awareness, we have a choice. If we could have that awareness all the time, we could change our routines, change our reactions, and change our entire life. Once we have the awareness, we recover free will. When we recover free will, in any moment, we can choose to remember who we are. Then, if we forget, we can choose again, if we have an awareness. But if we don't have the awareness, we have no choice. Becoming aware is about being responsible for your own life. You are not responsible for what is happening in the world. You're responsible for your own self. You didn't make the world the way it is. The world was already the way it was before you were born. You didn't come here with a great mission to save the world, to change society, but surely you come with a big mission, an important mission. The real mission you have in life is to make yourself happy. And in order to be happy, you have to look at what you believe, the way you judge yourself, the way you victimize yourself. Be completely honest about your happiness. Don't project a false sense of happiness by telling everyone, look at me, I'm a success in life. I have everything I want. I'm so happy. When you don't like yourself. Everything is there for us, but we first need to have the courage to open our eyes, to use the truth and to see what really is. Humans are so blind, and they're blind because they don't want to see. Let's look at an example. A young woman meets a man and she feels a strong attraction for him right away. Her hormones go all the way up, and she just wants the man. All her girlfriends can see what this man is. He's on drugs. He's not working. He's got all those traits that make a woman suffer so much. But she sees him. And what does she see? She only sees what she wants to see. She sees that he's tall, he's handsome, he's strong, he's charming. She creates an image of the man and tries to deny what she doesn't want to see. She lies to herself. She really wants to believe the relationship will work. The girlfriend says, but he's on drugs. He's an alcoholic, and he's not even working. She says, yes, but my love is going to change him. Of course, her mother hates the man, and the father does too. Her parents are worried about her because she can see where she is going, because they can see where she's going. They say, this is not a good man for you. The young woman says, you're telling me what to do. She goes against mom and against dad to follow her hormones, and she lies to herself trying to justify her choices. It's my life, and I'm going to do whatever I want to do. Months later, the relationship brings her back to reality. The truth starts coming out, and she blames the man for what she didn't want to see before. There's no respect. There's a lot of abuse. But now her pride is more important. How can she go back home when mom and dad were right? That will give them satisfaction. How long will it take for this woman to learn the lesson? How much does she love herself? What is the limit of her self-abuse? All that suffering occurs, but we don't want to see. When it's so clear before our eyes, even when we meet someone and he tries to pretend to be the best he can, even with that false mask, he cannot avoid presenting the lack of love, the lack of respect he has. But we don't want to see it, and we don't want to hear. That is why an ancient prophet once said, "There is no worse blind man than the one who doesn't want to see. There is no worse deaf man than the one who doesn't want to hear. And there is no worse madman than the one who doesn't want to be understood." We're so blind, we really are, and we pay for that. But if we open our eyes and see life as it is, we can avoid a lot of emotional pain. It doesn't mean we don't take a risk. We are alive and we need to take risks. And if we fail, so what? Who cares? It doesn't matter. We learn and we move on without judgment. We don't need to judge. We don't need to blame or feel guilt. We just need to accept our truth and intend a new beginning. If we can see ourselves the way we are, that is the first step towards self-acceptance, towards stopping the self-rejection. Once we are able to accept ourselves just the way we are, everything can start changing from that point forward. Everyone has a price, and life respects that price. But that price is not measured in dollars or in gold. It is measured in love. More than that, it is measured in self-love. How much you love yourself. That is your price, and life respects the price. When you love yourself, the price is very high, which means your tolerance for self-abuse is very low. It's very low because you respect yourself. You like yourself the way you are, and this makes your price high. If you don't like things about yourself, the price is a little lower. Sometimes the self-judgment is so strong that people need to be numb just to be with themselves. If you don't like a person, you can just walk away from that person. If you don't like a group of people, you can just walk away from those people. But if you don't like yourself, it doesn't matter where you go. You're right there. To avoid being with yourself, you need to take something to numb you, to take your mind away from yourself. Perhaps some alcohol is going to help. Perhaps some drugs will help you. Perhaps eating. Just eat. The self-abuse can get much worse. There are people who really feel self-hatred. They're all self-destructive, killing themselves little by little because they don't have the courage to kill themselves fast. If you observe self-destructive people, you will see they attract people just like them. What do we do if we don't like ourselves? We try to get numb with alcohol to forget our suffering. That's the excuse we use. Where are we going to get alcohol? We go to the bar to drink, and guess what? Guess who's there? Guess who's going to be there? People just like us, who try to avoid themselves also, who also try to get numb. We get numb together. We start talking about our suffering, and we understand each other very well. We even start to enjoy it. We understand each other perfectly because we vibrate in the same frequency. We're both being self-destructive. Then I hurt you, you hurt me. A perfect relationship in hell. What happens when you change? For whatever reason, you no longer need the alcohol. It's okay now to be with yourself, and you really enjoy it. You no longer drink, but you have the same friends. And everyone's drinking. They get numb, they start getting happier, but you can clearly see that their happiness is not real. What they call happiness is a rebellion against their own emotional pain. In that happiness, they are so hurt that they have fun hurting each other and hurting themselves. You no longer fit in, and of course, they resent you because you are no longer like them. Hey, you're rejecting me because you no longer drink with me? Because you don't get high with me? Now you have to make a choice. You can step back, or you can go to another level of frequency and meet people who finally accept themselves like you do. You find there is another realm of reality, a new way of relationship, and you no longer accept certain kinds of abuse. That's a good chapter.
Number 8, sex. The biggest demon in hell.
This will be a good one. If we could take humans out of creation, of the universe, we would see that the whole creation, the stars, the moon, the planets, the animals, everything, is perfect just the way it is. Life doesn't need to be justified or judged. Without us, it keeps going the way it is. If you put humans in the creation but take away the ability to judge, you will find we are exactly like the rest of nature. We're not good or bad or right or wrong. We just are the way we are. In the dream of the planet, we have the need to just justify everything, to make everything good or bad or right or wrong, when it's just the way it is, period. Humans accumulate a lot of knowledge. We learn a lot of those beliefs, morals, and rules from our families, society, religion, and we base most of our behaviors, most of our feelings on that knowledge. We create angels and demons, and of course, sex becomes the biggest demon in hell. Sex is the biggest sin of the humans when the human body is made for sex. You are the biological sexual being, and that is just the way it is. Your body is so wise. All that intelligence in the genes and the DNA. And the DNA doesn't need to understand or justify everything. It just knows. The problem is not with sex. The problem is with the way we manipulate the knowledge of our own judgments, when there is really nothing to justify. It's so hard for the mind to surrender, to accept that it's just the way it is. We have a whole set of beliefs about what sex should be, about how relationships should be, and these beliefs are completely distorted.
In hell, we pay a high price for a sexual encounter.
But the instinct is so strong that we do it anyway. Then we have all that guilt, all that shame. We hear all that gossip about sex. Look at what this woman is doing. Ooh, look at that man. We have a whole distinction of what a woman is, what a man is, how a woman should behave sexually, how a man should behave sexually. Men are always too macho or too wimpy, depending on who is judging. Women are always too thin or too fat. We have all these beliefs about how a woman should be in order to be beautiful. You have to buy the right clothes, create the right image so you can be seductive and fit that image. If you don't fit that image of beauty, you grow up believing that you're not worthy. Not worthy.
That no one will take you. No one will like you.
We believe so many lies about sex that we don't enjoy sex. Sex is for animals. Sex is evil. We should be ashamed to have sexual feelings. These rules about sex go completely against nature, and it's just a dream. But we believe it. Your true nature comes out, and it doesn't fit with all those rules. Oh, man.
You are guilty. You are not what you should be. You are judged.
You are victimized. You punish yourself, and it's not fair. This creates wounds and becomes infected with emotional poison. The mind plays this game, but the body doesn't care. What the mind believes, the body just feels the sexual need. At a certain time in our lives, we cannot avoid feeling sexual attraction. This is completely normal. It is not a problem at all. The body is going to feel sexual when it's excited, when it's touched, when it's visually stimulated, when it sees the possibility of sex. The body can feel sensual. Sexual. Hey, get out of there. And a few minutes later, stop feeling sexual. And a few minutes later, if the stimulation ends, the body stops feeling the need for sex. But the mind is another story. Let's say that you are married and were raised as a Catholic. You have all those ideas about how sex should be, about what is good or bad or right or wrong, about what is a sin and what is acceptable. You need to sign a contract to make a sex okay. If you don't sign the contract, sex is a sin. You have given your word to be loyal. But one day you're walking on the street and a man crosses in front of you. You feel a strong attraction. The body feels the attraction. There is no problem. It doesn't mean you will take any action, but you cannot avoid the feeling because it's completely normal. When the stimulation is gone, the body lets go. But the mind needs to justify what the body feels. The mind knows that the problem, your mind knows, you know, but what is it that you know? You know what you believe. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad, right or wrong, correct or incorrect. You are raised to believe this is bad. And right away you can make that judgment. Now the drama and conflict begin. Later you think of that man, and just thinking of him makes your hormones go up again. Because of the powerful memory that is in the mind. It's as if your body is seeing him again. The body reacts because the mind thinks about it. If the mind would leave the body alone, that reaction would go away as if it never happened. But the mind remembers it. And because you know it, it's not okay. You start to judge yourself. The mind says it's not okay and tries to repress what it feels. When you try to repress your mind, guess what? You think about it some more. Then you see the man, and even if it's in a different situation, your body reacts more strongly. If the first time you had just let go of the judgment, perhaps you would see him the second time and you would have no reaction at all. Now you see the man, you have sexual feelings, and you judge these feelings and think, oh my God, it's not okay. I'm a terrible woman. You need to be punished. You are guilty. You are going in a downward spiral. And for nothing, because it's all in the mind. Perhaps that man doesn't even notice that you exist. You start imagining the whole thing. You make assumptions, and you start to want him more. For whatever reason, you meet the man. You talk to him, and it's beautiful for you. It becomes an obsession. It's very attractive, but you are afraid. Then you make love to him, and it's the greatest thing and the worst thing at the same time. Now you really need to be punished. What kind of woman would allow her sexual desire to be greater than her morals? Who knows what games the mind is going to play? You hurt, but you try to deny your feelings. You try to justify your actions to avoid the emotional pain. Well, my husband is probably the same way. The attraction becomes stronger, but it's not because of your body. It's because the mind is playing a game. The fear becomes an obsession, and all that fear you have about your sexual attraction is building up. When you make love with this man, you have a great experience, but not because he is great, and not because the sex was great, but because all the tension, all the fear is released. To build it up again, the mind plays the game that is because of that man, but it isn't true. The drama keeps growing, and it's nothing but a simple mental game. It's not even real. It's not love either, because this kind of relationship becomes very destructive. It is self-destructive because you are hurting yourself, and the place that hurts most is what you believe. It doesn't matter if you believe your belief is right or wrong, or good or bad. You are breaking your beliefs, which is something that we wish to do. But in the way of the spiritual warrior, not the way of the victim. Now that you're going to use that experience to go deeper into hell, not to get out of it. Your mind and